Welcome everyone to this episode of PEPTalk, Productive Environment Podcast. Are you ready for your pep talk today? We sure are. Today, we are talking about thriving at home, organizing for safety, wellness, and legacy. So before we get into that, I am Andrea Anderson, CEO of Productive Environment Institute, and I am based here in Carolina Beach, North Carolina, joined by Barbara.
I'm Barbara Hemphill. I'm the founder of Productive Environment Institute in Raleigh, North Carolina.
And as you can see, Barbara is outside of the studio today. She's in her other studio. She's in her mobile studio today, right. Which is awesome. I love that we can all work from anywhere. This is like one of the best things about what we do. And we are super excited to bring on one of our special guests. I feel like she's one of our kids. She's one of our own. And that is Juliana Kathman. She is a certified productive environment specialist. And I'll let her tell you where she is. Juliana, where are you joining us from today?
From Statesville, North Carolina.
There we go. And that's up near, for people that don't know Statesville, that would be near Charlotte. Is that right? That's the
Correct.
biggest.
Just north of Charlotte.
North of Charlotte. Okay, awesome. So Juliana is going to talk to us today about thriving at home, organizing for safety, wellness, and legacy. So my first question for you, Juliana, is let's go through these one at a time. But before we do that, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how long you've been organizing, how long you've been with Productive Environment Institute, anything special about you that you would like to share with the audience. So let's do that first.
I'm the owner of Organized by Juliana, and I enjoy helping people get organized in their home and in their offices. And it's a great way to make people feel wonderful too. And it's being productive is very important to me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you said you definitely specifically work with people in their homes as well as offices. So that would include offices in their home as well as offices outside the home. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And when you talk about home, are you only talking about offices in the home, or are you doing other, like what we would refer to as residential organizing as well?
I do the residential organizing as well because I have found a need for seniors in the community that need assistance in helping deciding on what to keep and what to let go of.
So you mean to tell us that senior citizens have a lot of paper and stuff?
Paper and stuff, yes.
Paper and stuff. And it's difficult just as difficult for them to let things go as us. So it's universal, everybody. It's universal, right?
I used to think it was just in the U.S., but now I've been talking with people around other parts of the world, and it turns out it's not just the U.S.
That's wild. That is wild. Well, you definitely, and I know about you because you've been on our team for a while, and we know that you have a heart for seniors. So you're the one that will go in and work with someone that maybe is overflowing with stuff and overflowing with a lot of paper and just doesn't know where to start. And so how do you get in there? Like, how do your clients find you, or how do you find your clients? What's the best way that people find you?
Well, a lot of people just do the Google search, but I have also connected within my local area in Iredell County, and people reach out to me that way, but also caregivers too, and family members that are needing help because, there's people that can't do everything. They're trying to take care of, their own home, their family and children, and now their parents as well.
Right. Yeah. That's such a good point too. And they feel bad. They feel bad that, I should be able to do this. I need to help my parent with this. But it's on top of the rest of their things that they have to do in their life. Right.
Correct.
And I think one of the interesting things about it is that I've seen this so many times where the child is trying to help the parent, and they're trying to help them with something that they're not very good at necessarily, which means they're not in a very good state of mind. And so here they are in the latter part of their life, and the relationship they have with their children is exactly the opposite of what they want. So when you come in and help somebody, then you can be the bad guy. You're the one that has to help make those decisions and stuff like that. And that frees up the children to have time and quality relationship with their children. It's such a gift. Such
Yeah.
a gift. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
It
I
truly
enjoy it very much. And I have seen that there is tensions in family. And if I can just come in and be that friend that can help them make decisions. And so it's a more calmer environment for the whole family.
Right. It's not emotionally charged. You're not emotionally charged because you
Correct.
don't have the connection to the stuff or to the people.
Mhm.
And so, and again, I just want to make sure we say this, that you don't tell them what they should get rid of, right? Like
No,
that's not
I
your
help
role.
them make the decision. If they want
No.
to keep the rock with the sprinkles on it, that's the choice they make.
I love it. You let them keep the rock with the sprinkles. That is
Well,
awesome.
that's where we always bring in our PEI principle of the cost factor, which
Mhm.
is you can keep everything you want if you're willing to pay the price, which is time, space, money, and energy. And so your job is not to tell them what to decide, but it's to ask the best questions about what would that mean for you and how much would it cost in terms of those things. And we're facilitators. We're not decision makers. We're asking the questions.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and
That's
a
right.
lot of times it's just setting priorities and giving them a place to start.
Yes, that is great. Yeah, I mean, that's half the battle is where to start. Where to start
And the
for any
support
for
and the
any of
support
us.
too.
Yeah.
And Juliana has such a wonderful personality and gives people so much encouragement and comfort. And
Mhm.
it's difficult. I mean, it really is it's not an easy thing. If it were easy to do, we wouldn't be in business and
Right.
everybody would have it done. And more people have the problem actually than don't have the problem.
That's right. That's exactly right. All right, well, let's get into it. So I want to just share our cover photo again. Thriving at home, organizing for safety, wellness, and legacy. So let's go through these one by one. What do you mean by organizing for safety?
Yes, you need a clutter-free environment. You need a safe walking space. If people want to have family to come over or to have home health come in,
Mm,
those people are not going to be as receptive to a cluttered space or an unhealthy location. So it needs to be, if you want to age in place, it needs to be a healthy and safe environment. And one of
mhm.
those things is being able to walk through the home, be able to get from the living room to the bedroom, to the bathroom, to the kitchen, and preventing falls.
Right, right. And we had last week we actually interviewed a visually impaired blind entrepreneur, and we talked about the same thing, that he has to have his environment a certain way where things go back to the say, to the where they belong, so that that's for safety too, so he can get from point A to point B. And so that goes for anybody. And so, with that in mind, are a lot of the homes, or a high percentage of the homes that you go into, do they have quite a bit of? Is that kind of a big piece that you do at the beginning? Is clearing those paths? Is that
So
common?
sometimes, yeah, and it is common. It's people collect furniture from other family members as they pass, or if they, and a lot of seniors keep everything as far as if it was a gift. So I let them know that even though it was a gift, you don't have to keep it. It's now, or if somebody passed it to you, now it's in your possession. You can decide what to do with it.
That's really good. So a lot of times they end up with a lot of clutter that because they feel guilty letting it go. Yeah. So that actually makes me think about something. So when people visit, when family members or friends visit their aging parents or aging relatives or whatever, that could be something we could be looking out for, right? It's like, is there a clear path from the bedroom to the bathroom to the kitchen? Those are things that,
Absolutely. And if they're
yeah.
calling for 911 emergency help, they need to be able to get access too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Wow. I had a client years ago. I was not an organizer at the time. I was a family counselor, and I was an intensive in-home family counselor. And one of my clients, the family never let me step foot into the house, not one time. And I would do family sessions on the front porch, even in the rain, because they had so much stuff. They had so much clutter. You could not, there was no path. there was no path. So, I mean, I kind of experienced that early on in my days, even before I ended up in this field. So yeah, I think if they had somebody that could come in and do that and clear the path, because if God forbid, if something happened, the emergency people couldn't get in there. So that's a great place to start. So is that what you do first? Are you safety oriented first when you go in?
That's how I look at the priorities. So I see what's important to them, but then I also look at what's helpful for their everyday needs.
Yeah.
And I might see something that's more of a priority before they do.
Right. Okay, awesome. So the next thing is wellness. So organizing for wellness. So let's talk about that.
For me, that involves their kitchen. I have gone to several places that have expired food. I've had clients that have eaten expired food and been sick. So I've actually taken a can of beans and it's empty inside, but it's never been opened. That's how old it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And when you have tomato cans that rust in the bottom and yeah, it goes bad. Yeah. So I update pantries and keep that. I will even do the refrigerator, freezer, and make sure that everything that they have within reach is something that they can healthy and prepare for themselves.
Okay, that's great. Anything else? Anything else wellness related?
There's a lot as far as keeping it clean too. That's part of our health too. And if you need to, keep not only clutter free, but it's easier to keep clean if it's clutter free as well. And that's better for your health overall.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. And last but not least, on your title, legacy. What does that mean? Thriving at home, organizing for safety, wellness, and legacy. What does that mean?
Well, I include that is if you want to age in place, you need to have everything you have within reach. And that's also includes, I like to provide like a command center that has the information and resources that people need. So at their fingertips. So if they have their list of medications, their list of emergency contacts, their list of their doctors' names and phone numbers, and anything that's pertinent to them that they need quick access to, if it's close to the door, or even if it's behind a kitchen cabinet door, just to have the information that they need when they need it. And if somebody else needs to find it too, it's good if it's out in the open. I like to help people with the, if they have allergy lists or medical lists, medical conditions, that's being in that as well. But to have, I like to create memory journals with people too, so then they see that they're pictures and tell their stories to it, and that makes them feel better. So we collect that as we go along.
I love that. Barbara, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just saying the title, Thriving at Home, Organizing for Safety, Wellness, and Legacy is so powerful. And, the tagline for Productive Environment Institute is accomplish your work and enjoy your life. And it's like, you've just made that so beautifully, put that so beautifully. And what a thing that our world needs to thrive at home. And so many people are not thriving at home. And so I'm really glad to. What do you see as the biggest stumbling block that when someone talks to you about doing it, but then they're reticent to move forward? What is the biggest stumbling block you've experienced?
Well, I think it's the holding on things for other people. They say, well, my kids will want this, or my kids have decided and they told me that, so they're holding on to it. What I like to do is create spaces that's for them, not for others. It's for them. It's for their needs. And so I have to remind them that, for the time they have remaining, enjoy their time and not be a storage unit. So you can go ahead and pass those things now. If they don't take it now, then maybe somebody else can use it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's one of the things, Barbara, you always say, you know, we tell people you can keep anything that you want as long as you're willing to pay the price. And the price is in time, space, money, and energy. And if you look around and you're keeping things because, you know, oh, the kids might want it. Is that costing you time? Maybe, because it takes you longer to get from point A to point B. Is it costing you money? Maybe, maybe not. It's probably most likely costing you energy. It's costing you energy, because even the energy of just looking at it and being overwhelmed by it, that is a cost. And so that's great that that's something that you help facilitate with them, which actually I'm going to share Barbara's famous quote that most people in our community know this. So clutter is postponed decisions. So how does that show up in your work and what you do with your clients?
Oh yeah, that shows up a lot. I use that phrase from Barbara a lot, and with her credit, and it is helping them make the decisions because it's in their best interest. So whether it's their mail that comes through and they just let it stack, and then they just move that stack. And it piles up. They still do get a lot of mail, and they have to go through every single piece of it. So it's developing that trust and trying to get rid of that clutter, helping them make that decision on, no, you don't need it. Sometimes once they build up that trust, then they can make that decision quicker, because they say, oh, okay, you don't think I need that? No, you don't need that.
And one of the ways we've always talked about it is that we don't tell them, but we could say, if it were mine, this is what I would do. Because then that's a way, because really it's fear, right? Fear of making a mistake, fear of offending someone, fear of forgetting. I mean, there's a lot of, I want to hang on to this because I'll forget. And so then it's like, okay, well, if you did forget, what would happen? And then, well, how could you remember it? So you mentioned, I love the idea that you put together this like photo journal or journalism. Well, so it's something you remember. Okay, so you can put it in there. And so you're really facilitating that decision making and helping them to go, and it is through it. That's the problem. In fact, people who work with hoarders and things like that, one of the things that we've learned, and I'm sure you've experienced this a lot, is that sometimes people touching it makes it much harder to make a decision. So often, instead of handing it to the person and giving it to them, picking up and holding it and asking them the question. And there's something about in the brain that when the person touches it, it makes it even more difficult to get through. So there's some tiny little nuances like that if you hadn't really studied this or hadn't had experience, you wouldn't have any idea. I mean, I've seen children just dump a pile in their mom's lap and say, you've got to go through this. Well, I mean, there's nothing you could do that would be worse than that. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And so the little things in this, the little things really do make a difference. And I think one of the other things we talk about a lot, which I'm sure you do, is helping people celebrate their successes when they do. Oh, you've done such a good job. And a lot of people are lonely, right? I mean, these are people who've been out in the community and maybe had careers and things, and now they're home. So not only do you serve as an expert in clutter reduction, clutter removal, all of that, but you also are a friend.
Absolutely. Yes, I have enjoyed it very much. I have made several new friends, and it has been very rewarding.
Yeah, I bet. So one thing, Kathy Music, she's one of our specialists too. She said, you're such a valuable resource, Juliana. And you are. I mean, you know, whether people have family or not, this is a very crucial role that you're filling. I want to just invite those of you that are watching, whether you're live or watching this replay, feel free to comment. And if you comment something live, I can share it on the screen. So please feel free to comment or ask a question if you like. One thing that came up, I'm curious, Juliana, one thing that came up with our team a few weeks ago, we were talking about estate planning, end of life planning, and then the the concept of like emergency planning, emergency information came up, and we made a distinction between the two, between like end of life is one thing, emergency is another thing, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you handle that? Do you address both of those separately? And how do you do that?
Yeah, you have to kind of pick your timing on when you bring this up. And emergency is much easier to discuss than estate planning. And but I do definitely encourage people to have what I say is legal documents and their medical records, their financial records, and to be able to say those are your important documents you need to have. And then it would have to include the medical directives, and that I think is one of the most important pieces of document that you need. And you can easily get that online and download it yourself and have it complete and filled out, and then make sure that it's available, whether it's to your doctor or to your hospital or whatever. But to have that known on what your wishes are and provide it to somebody who will be able to share those wishes is very, very important.
Right.
Do you want to be bedridden for 4 or 5 years and be fed with a feeding tube and have no feeling from your neck down? I mean, that's the kind of thing that I have seen that people do because they don't have medical directives and their family wants them to stay.
Wow. Things we don't want to face, things we don't want to talk about, but they're crucial. Nancy says, thank you for ideas to help my mom. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Nancy, your mom am I right that she's 95? She's in her 90s. And Nancy, you're a good daughter, Nancy, taking care of your mama. And these are really, really good ideas. I want to share something. I want to see if I can share my screen real quick. Let's see, share screen. Okay. Yes, we have a workshop coming up that is actually going to be addressing these things, the things that Juliana just talked about. So it's called Paperpalooza, Estate and End of Life Planning. Get your affairs in order with us. So that is actually coming, depending on when you're watching this. If you're watching this week, this is coming up. It's a hands-on workshop on Saturday, March 22nd. And we would love for you guys to join us. And even if you can't join us, come and watch this video. There's a video on this page that talks about what we're going to talk about. And the video alone is extremely helpful. It's extremely helpful. Just the questions that were asked of Adam Zuckerman, who is the founder of Buried in Work. You'll get some good tips just by looking at the video. I think it's about 20 minutes long. But Nancy says, oh my goodness, she said her mom is 97. Her mom is 97. Oh my goodness, Nancy. Wow. So yeah, definitely check that out. And Eds, if you'll post the link to that workshop, there it is, workshop.productiveenvironment.com. That will give everybody a head start on knowing. And Adam is an attorney. This is what buriedinwork.com. You can go check that out. It will be an extremely valuable exercise in what to gather, the things that Juliana, you mentioned, gathering those things, which in the meantime, you're decluttering other things. You're going through, there's a process that we teach. You teach it one-on-one as well. So people can work with you directly. And we do this as a group. So there's a process for you to go through, make decisions about paper. And then we're going to have an eye out for specific things like you were just mentioning, the directives. Everybody thinks, and this is one thing Adam mentioned, everybody thinks just having a will or a trust is like, oh, I'm set, I've got that covered. And he said, that's not the end of it. There's a lot more to be covered. So
well, it's ironic. It's appropriate to think about it here. It's ironic that the way this whole industry started was 46 years ago when I started it. And I quickly found that paper was the most difficult thing for people to decide. And the question that they asked me all the time was, how long do I keep bank statements and real estate records and things like that? And I didn't know the answer, but I thought there surely must be a book in the library. So I went to the library, and much to my amazement, there was not one. And that's what launched Taming the Paper Tiger, which became a best-selling book back in 1988. And so then we were dealing about paper. Well, now a lot of people say, oh, well, I don't have to deal with the paper because we're going to go digital. Well, we found out that with digital, with email, now we just have a bigger, faster, hidden mess. And so the problem now is actually greater than it was when I started. It's different and it's complicated, particularly in generations. Like when you're talking about children dealing with their parents, they're different generations. And then if you get the grandchildren in it, then you even have another generation. There's one family I've been working with recently there where there are 4 generations involved, and they all look at it differently. I mean, it's taken some real facilitation to get those 4 generations to look at it in a way that peaceful for the family, and it really affects family relationships. And in the long run, the family relationships are more important than any of the stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I worked with a client that she couldn't get rid of anything because it was her mother's, and that she wanted to pass it down to her daughter. I said, how does that make you feel, all of this stuff that your mother has given you? I said, do you want to do the same thing to your daughter? And that's what was happening, just one after another. I said, if you're not happy with all this stuff, just being stored, then why would your daughter want to store all the stuff?
This is the one case where a storage unit could be a temporary solution, because it's a way that you can say, if I'm in this house and I don't want it, but somebody else says they want it, then okay, then you pay for it. Or if you want to gift it to them, you can gift it to them. That way you can gift them the storage unit for a period of time, but meanwhile you can have a life. So that's another place. I'm not a big fan of storage units because most of the times you go there, they're full of postponed decisions, and most of the people have no idea what's even in them. But when we're working with someone and we're actually processing those decisions and saying, or sometimes I had a client where the children that were going to get it were overseas and they couldn't really take it at that point. So it was appropriate to put it in a storage unit. And I even did it with my own son. He went into the Marines, and I didn't want to throw his stuff away. And when he came back, I said, okay, I've paid for the storage unit. This is it. Now it's yours.
Now it's yours. Pass that on. That's right. So Juliana, let me ask you this. Do you only work with seniors and the situations that we're talking about in this pep talk, or do you work with other types of clients too? You want to share anything on that?
I work with all types of clients that are busy professionals, usually that don't have time, and they're looking for systems to speed up, especially with closets, and getting them organized can definitely save them time.
Like clothes closets?
Correct.
Clothing. Okay. Yep. All right. So creating systems in the home in other areas as well, and not just seniors, but other people as well. And I know you live in Davidson near Charlotte. Do you only work on site where you go to them, or do you work virtually as well?
I can work virtually. I set up a Zoom call and a Zoom video, and I'm able to do that as well.
Yeah, that's great. And we talked about that, Barbara, recently. We talked about, I think it was when we were interviewing Josh, the visually impaired entrepreneur, that we were saying when we work virtually, sometimes it's even better for the client because we can't be there to do it for them. And it's like we're guiding through, online, we're guiding and teaching, and we're transferring our skill set to them without the tendency to jump in. If we're face to face and sitting next to somebody, we would have the tendency to jump in and do something for them. So working virtually is an incredibly valuable way to get organized. And so that's awesome. All right, so let's do this. Let me share your website, Juliana, so people can find you. And let me do my share screen again. And it says put the link up there, and let me do.
And on Organized by Juliana, you can go to the scorecard. So that's
that's where I was going. I'm showing that. Yeah. So when you go to Organized by Juliana, at the top right is a link that says Get Your Productive Environment Score. So you can just go in there, click that link, and that you'll be asked a series of questions. And then that will put you in touch with Juliana. So you can go check that out, fill out your score, get your productive environment score. How productive is your environment? And that will get you in touch with Juliana. You can ask her more questions. You guys can connect and go from there. So before we wrap up, let me just share a couple things. We shared about our workshop that's coming up, so be sure to check that out. And also, you can go to lesscluttermorelife.com. There is a 17-minute mini training there. 17 minutes. No 2-hour webinar. It's a 17-minute mini training. So go to lesscluttermorelife.com, check that out, and you can see what Productive Environment Institute is up to. And Juliana is part of that. Part of Productive Environment Institute as one of our certified productive environment specialists. Any additional questions you have or thoughts you guys have after watching this, please, wherever you're watching this, post in the comments. If you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, our favorite thing for you to do is to get over to YouTube so that you can like this video, share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. And if you know anyone in the Davidson, Charlotte area, definitely share this video. And then subscribe to our channel while you're there. Okay? So we would love to have you as a YouTube subscriber. And that lets more people, the whole algorithm thing happens and more people get exposed to this content. And people need this content. People need you, Juliana, and need our team of certified productive environment specialists. So you guys can help us in that. And we got one more comment. I love the hearts. Thank you, Diane. Awesome. All right. So Juliana, second to the last word, and I'm gonna give Barbara the last word. So Juliana, anything last words?
Just if you want to age in place, you want it to be safe, and you want to be healthy, and you want to enjoy your life.
Mm-hmm. Get in touch. Fill out that scorecard. Awesome. Thank you, Juliana. You've been a wonderful guest. Barbara, last word.
Well, this reminds me, we often joke that there are two things in life that are inevitable, death and taxes, but we should add a third, and that is clutter. We are a society that clutter comes in all the time, particularly in the way of information. We have over 100-year-olds that are still getting paper. So this is a perfect opportunity to connect with Juliana and get some habits in place so that you and everyone around you can accomplish their work and enjoy their lives. Thanks for joining us, Juliana.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.